Okay, so shall we start now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so if we see fund accounting business as accounting team, what we do exactly at a front end, we never feel that we are preparing the accounting entries and all, but somewhere we required accounting entries that actually we prepare the accounting entries in Excel sheet, right, as per the data or the invoice that we have received from the XYZ counterparts, and we
Yeah.
interpret that in accounting manner. So it means we record the accounting entries or prepare the accounting entries and we upload that entries on accounting system.
Yes.
Okay, so it means accounting entries plays vital role in a fund accounting business, and from an interview point of view as well. So you may expect lot of questions on accounting entries part also.
Yeah.
So we'll start to the discussion, which is the first would be your or the subscription part.
Yes.
Subscription, it means fund received to the, let's say, XYZ fund. XYZ fund LLP. Fund received to the XYZ LLP from investor.
Okay.
This is your recording and this notification which you would see. But when you received it, so your accounting entry would be like bank account. Why cash and bank account debit?
Cash is increasing. No? Cash
So
is
we'll
coming.
take the example of, let's say, this amount.
Mm.
Apart from cash is increasing because this subscription amount will receive on your bank account, fund bank account.
Yeah.
Because every fund it's mandated
Yes.
to have their own fund account, bank account, demat
Yes.
account, trading account, correct? So that's the reason.
Yes.
And if you apply the for we'll discuss about the accounting rule as well. Cash and bank, it is part of real account.
Yes.
Okay, and what is the term? Assets increases, assets increases, that would be debited, right? Cash is a part of real account, so it means if the cash increases, then that would be debited, correct?
Yes.
So we'll decode each and everything in details. So we will practice as well in this way. Okay, then what would be credited then?
Capital.
In two ways you can record the accounting entry, even though you can mention the investor name as well who have sent the fund to you or to your fund
Yeah.
or XYZ fund, right? Why?
Yes.
So what is the rule of personal account? Debit the receiver, credit the
Giver.
giver.
Yeah.
So investor would be giver in this case, so you can highlight the investor name as well. But if you don't want to highlight, then you can directly transfer that fund to the share capital account because you have received that amount for a business operation. So it means business will consider this particular amount as a capital, and that will be recorded to the liability side of a balance sheet,
Yes.
right? Then you can record the entry share capital account debited. And if you want to write again optional, that would be optional, or another way. So we'll write that as well. Other way. Around. Let's say Mr. A send the money to you, right?
Yes.
Mr. or Mrs. Mr. A. Personal account credit. So this would be option. So if you want to write the accounting entries in this direction, you can write it down.
Okay.
Why? Write a comment. As per the personal accounting rule, Mr. X or A rule, Mr. A send the money to the XYZ fund LLP.
So this LLP is the limited partnership. What you stand for?
LLP means limited liability partnership. Always we registered fund as a LLP. Limited
Okay. So
liability partnership. And why we record it?
yeah.
Because if
So
something happened with the investment, so every counterpart has a limited risk.
yeah, but this is for the hedge fund, right? I mean, in
No,
terms
it is
of.
for mutual fund as well, even though that is hedge fund as well. So,
No, I've seen the mutual fund they register as a trust or trust something.
so there is a
Yeah.
business model. So if you want to register as a LLP, you can register as a LLP. If you want to register as asset management company, so you can register as asset management company. But most of the time, you would see this in a hedge fund and private equity business that they registered as LLP, limited liability partnership.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So investor has a limited liability
Right.
over the that investment assets. If something goes wrong with the investment, then nobody can pay that liability from their pocket. Simple. Then that particular business will dissolve, so they can
Yes,
announce
yes.
no, dissolution of the business. Simple. And that's what, even though sometime you would expect questions, can we publish anyway in negative way? No, we cannot. If the asset, let's say there is no asset, then eventually you don't need to record any net asset value for that particular business. So either value would be zero or positive, either,
Yeah.
but not negative. Okay. And here why so here if you try to note it down, then cash received to the business or fund LLP with a capital for the business. Okay. Cash received to the LLP fund LLP would be capital or LLP considered as a capital would be the part of capital. Capital. If you see capital, it means again what is the part or definition or rule of liabilities? Because capital, it is a part of liabilities. If the liabilities are increases, right,
Yeah.
then liabilities are increases, that would be credited. Again, share capital If you have received capital, it means you can record it as a real account,
Yes.
but that would be part of your liabilities, and the rule will apply to the liabilities. If the your liability increases, then that would be the part of your credit side. Okay,
Yes.
cash and liabilities both will be recorded. How to record? This is also important one, because most of the people, they don't know how to record it. Cash asset side,
Yes.
balance it, and balance it, correct? Any doubt so far? And the
No.
same will apply to here, but in this case, capital, your personal account, this would be your personal account.
Yes.
Personal account. Okay. Then sometime you would see that you have received extra or excess amount for subscription, correct? Let's
Okay.
say the actual NAV was 100 for per unit, and you have received 120, right? And the request was for 2 units, right?
Yes.
Request was for 2 units. You have received 240 rupees for 2 units. How will you
Yes.
record that amount? Any guess, any idea?
No, sir. But why we receive the extra amount? I mean, don't get that logic. For example, if I know that the per unit price is 100 rupees, so I
Hmm.
have to buy 200 rupees, then I will pay 200 only, right?
Hmm. But sometime, let's
But
say the yesterday's NAV was wrongly posted and published, and at that time you had received subscription request. At that time, the
okay.
amount was 120. See, you cannot put your logic why and all. Always it should be accounting. It means there would be full of uncertainties, and that's what we need to apply the accounting treatment. If you see the any amount extra, any amount that you have received less, and accordingly you will have to interpret it and record it in the books of account. Hardly that happen, your account, the subscription received amount, it will match to the unit amount which you have in the that particular fund. In a
Okay.
90% cases, that amount will mismatch. Then,
Okay. Okay.
because see, your investment is linked with the market instruments, and
Yeah.
NAV price is also linked with the market instrument, and due to
Yes.
that, the movement, unusual movement in the price, the securities and the income, whatever that you received, or liabilities which you interpret or calculate or measurement, at that time this happened, and that's what sometime you received extra amount as well. If you
Yeah.
received extra amount, and later on, if you get the confirmation that you have received extra, it means that is not that amount you cannot consider, right?
Yes.
So it means that amount should be returned to the investor. That is the one option you have, correct?
Yeah.
Or else, apart from that, if if the investor confirm that, you can also subscribe the units for that particular excess amount as well. So you mean, then in that case you can allocate the another units to the investor's account, and you can convert that amount or transfer that amount to the share capital also. So it means if you received excess amount, first case, return the amount to the
Investor.
investor. And second case, allocate
Units.
units to the investors account. Third case, even you can apply in case of mutual fund, but let's say this is like monthly scheme, right? Or you can select SIP. In that case, you can adjust that amount, right? In the next month SIP's payout. So it means neat instructions which you can, let's say you have received already 100 rupees that you have received, and monthly subscription amount is around 2000. So it means next time you have already received 100. So you can just request 1900 from the investor. 19 plus this 100 you can adjust in this month cycle and subscribe the unit for that amount. This also happened. So it is
Okay.
all about how they manage this extra portion and all. But I would say simply just return the amount to the investor, or else allocate the units after getting confirmation from the investor. That's it. Would be easy to do
Oh,
accounting and all. If you return
okay.
it, if you received extra amount, and if you let's say if you take the example in this way, original amount it was 10,000, but you have received this amount. But in this case, then the nature of entry will be changed, right? This nature of entry will be changed, or we'll prepare this entry instead. This leave as it is. See, in this case, you can say you have received amount in advance, correct?
Yes, yes.
Then to capital or call in advance or escrow account which you can set up. Which is credited. So it means, let's say instead 10,000 you have received this amount 11,000. Here would be 10,000. Actually, it should have received only 10,000, and you have received extra, which is this. So in this way, you can prepare your accounting entry. Okay, and later on, let's say up to day after tomorrow, you received an email from the investor stating that so I have processed extra amount to you, so can you please return my excess amount to us or to my account. And let's say even investor confirmed about the investment, that the portion of investment which, or the fund which you have received extra, and apart from that, even though that the investor confirm the bank account details as well. So in that case, you can send the request for reversal as well, right? Then in that case, your accounting entry would be, this account would be debited to cash and bank. Cash and bank account credited. How much amount? 1000. 1000, right? And so see, this you have received this one is debited and this one is credited. It means now there is no impact of this extra 1000 you had received from the Mr. A, right? That's how you can apply the accounting treatment. Okay, it seems like quite easy, right? Before this, I'm sure you wouldn't have heard this part. excess amount or subscription received in advance.
Yeah, yeah, that I was not aware actually.
So, but yeah, in this way, you can record the accounting entry. And this was all about subscription part. And now you can assume this. You have received fund from investor. You are a fund manager. You have received fund to your bank account, and all we see. Why we use words like statement, right? Statement, ledger, because we have a accounting system. Let's assume it's Geneva, and you have opened bank account for by the name of fund, demat account you have opened by the name of fund, then you have you have opened the trading account for derivative effects and all other different securities or segments, even though you have opened the nostro and vostro account for international trading as well, correct? So it means you have opened different accounts, and as an accountant, you are referring the account statement to interpret to those statement, and you are recording the transactions in your books of account. Correct? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, yes, sir.
Can you relate with this? See, if you reach to the CA or approach to CA to prepare or file your ITR,
Yeah.
CA request you to provide the bank account statements, correct? Then
Yes.
demat account statements if you have, or any investment if you're holding, CA ask you to provide all the details to you, correct? So it means CA
Yes.
want that to interpret or to calculate or measure your net income. Otherwise, the CA cannot interpret your income if you don't provide the source of fund or investment or other details. The similar way, to do the accounting, it means we are referring the statements, we are referring the bank account statement, we are referring the custodian statement, we are referring the data or the entries or payment or receipt or expenditures payment which the fund manager made through his bank, through the fund bank account, the securities he is buying and selling from the demat account. So we are referring that and we are entering that details into the fund accounting system. So as you know that every fund admin, they have their different accounting systems XYZ, right?
Yes, yes.
So your job is to refer the statements and to record it in your books of account or in the books of fund. So I hope now
Yeah.
this will help you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then then you have received, but after received, after reversal, now you got to know that your net amount which is 10,000. So it means you have 10,000 as a cash, and which is your opening balance, correct? Where do you
Yes.
record that opening balance? Any idea?
In a cash, we asset side we keep this as a cash actually.
Hmm? Sorry.
In asset side, asset side or balance it, and we'll keep this as a cash.
Opening balance always that we record it to the trade book, right? From accounting perspective, so we record it to the trade book, right? And there your investment journey will start. So it means you can assume that if you have a 10,000 rupees, and as a fund manager, think where can you invest and how can you invest. Let's say you have decided to invest, in equity of Wipro Limited, bonds of government securities, right? Then, even though you have decided to invest in treasury bills as well, T bills, government securities, and your allocation is like, let's say 5,000 that you have decided to invest in equity, 2,500 in bonds, and 2,500, or let's say uh, 1,500 in bonds. But still, if you see, Total amount it goes around 9,000, and remaining would be cash at bank. How much? 1,000, correct?
Yes.
So you have this data now. So how can you interpret this data, or what would be the possible accounting entries in the books of fund? Can you please help me to interpret this information?
Um, Investment in equity account data to cash account that 5,000 entry will do. Uh, that second one, investment in a government securities account debit to cash, and the other one is for the T bills. The same similar entry we post.
Okay. Now we'll prepare it. Fund fund invested in below securities. Fund invested in below securities, then prepare the accounting entries for the same. Investment in equity account. How much? 5,000 to cash and bank, which is 5,000. But see, if you simply do, then you can prepare this accounting entry and your job is done. But we have a system like trade date accounting system and settlement date accounting system, correct? Are you aware about this? Trade date accounting system and settlement date
Yeah,
accounting
yeah.
system?
Yes, 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 yes. Actually, in that case, actually, investment account debit to receivable account. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yes, exactly.
payable account we can mention
If
here.
you have purchased it, then instead cash, then you can record it. But yeah, so what we'll do, we'll prepare the accounting entries as per the trade date and settlement date, and we'll see it. What would be the different things in that way? So we have trade date and accounting system. So most of the institutions, they prefer the trade date accounting system than
Yes.
the settlement date, right? Then let's do this way: trade date accounting, investment in equity account debit to payable account. Or maybe let's say you have purchased the security from JP Morgan, then
Yeah.
you can even highlight the name of JP Morgan as well, or entity name who have that send the securities to you or transfer the securities to you, correct? So
Yes.
if you don't want to, in a two ways that you can record this accounting entry, simple. One which is payable, or else you can even highlight the name of that particular entity as well and apply the accounting rule, which is payable. Again, it is a part of that is a part of liabilities, and when the liability increases, that would be credited. And apart from that, you can apply the personal accounting rule as well, which is debit the receiver and credit the giver. So in that case, who gave the securities to you? Let's say JP Morgan. And if we
Yeah.
interpret this, for a reason. So security purchase, equity purchase from the JP Morgan. So in that case, even you can highlight the name of JP Morgan account debit, sorry, account credit, investment in equity account debit, and your this the payable account credit. So
Yes.
on a settlement date, let's say this security you traded on the Monday,
Yeah.
and it was 26th, 25th, 25th, 0. And on a settlement date, which is today, 27th, we'll prepare the accounting entry, which is
Yeah.
now your
Pay
payable would be debited,
debited. Payable to cash.
payable account debit to cash and bank. Always it should record in this way, cash and bank, not only cash, because always we process the cash from bank account. That's what.
Yeah.
Then amount is this, and your job is done if you record in this way. But as I said, this is not the case in so there will be different scenario in case of settlement date basis. If you follow only settlement date basis, so we'll see that as well. On settlement date. So in short, in this way, if you record it, you're in a normal accounting, whenever you purchase something on credit, we prepare this accounting entry, right? The similar way here also, if we purchase something, we are creating the payable. So it means we are assuming that we have purchased the securities on credit kind of things, and that's what this is, like a hypothetical situation where the broker will block the amount from your account, but still the securities will
Yes.
receive to you on T+2.
Yes.
That's what. Then on a settlement date basis, accounting entries, settlement date basis, trade date, no accounting entry required. Right? On a trade date, no accounting entry required. Why? Because this would be your settlement date accounting system.
Yes.
Okay. So if there is no accounting entry on trade date, then what about settlement date? Let's say the trade date was 25th.
So in that case, if in the settlement date basis, so on trade day we will not do anything in our books of account, right?
Yeah, there is no impact on trade date.
Okay.
Nothing to record in your books of account. But what about settlement date, and how will you record it? See, if you see, there is a difference between okay, or there is a time gap between 25th to 27, right?
Yeah.
And during that period, it is a possible to change the value of that particular securities also. So it means at the time of accounting, there will be different value of investment. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
At the time of accounting, there would be different value of investment, then how will you recognize that or how will you record that? So that would be challenge for us. Anyways, we'll
Yeah.
record it. Let's assume this. We'll create one example. Create it means the Wipro securities, if you take the example, or now let's say on a trade date when you purchase it, so the value of investment was this, which is 5,000.
Yes.
But on a settlement date, the Wipro security, which is value was 5,000. Let's assume this. You purchase the security, you purchase 10 quantity purchased with price of 500, right?
Hmm.
But on settlement date, on settlement date, so the value of investment, this worth has been changed. Quantity would be remain same. The price, the market price of a security is now, if you check, it seems around only 400. So it means there is a loss, right?
Yes. Yes.
From 500 per shares to 400. And if you see, the purchase value was 500, 5,000. But if you see the current market price, this should be now your current market price.
Yes.
Current market price, which seems around 400. Then we'll
Yes.
have to recognize that the unrealized loss from this particular transaction also. So it means that also will have to record it in this entry if we prepare the
Yes.
accounting entries on a settlement date only. See, in a
Yes.
trade date basis also will record it, but there you don't need to mix that accounting entries, right? So you can prepare
Yeah.
the separate entry if you're doing the accounting, right, on the same date.
Yeah.
Then you can prepare the separate entry, that is unrealized loss account debit to Wipro security account, because there is
Yeah.
a loss, correct? But in this case, we'll have to adjust or record or add that loss as well in the accounting entry. So we'll do
Yes.
that. Let's say today the date is 27th. Investment in
Equity.
equity count, how much? Total investment.
5,000.
No. In this case, we'll have to take the current value of investment. So it means
Okay.
400 into
4,000. Yeah. 10.
400 into 10.
Yes.
Then record it. Due to volatility, there is a loss, right? Unrealized loss on investment account debit, which is 1,000. Why?
1,000.
5,000 was the original amount.
Yes.
Calculations which you can refer after as well. 5,000 minus
4,000.
4,000. Remaining, the loss has been recognized.
Yeah.
But how much total cash that you have paid to acquire this
5,000.
asset? Then to
5,000.
cash and
Frank.
bank account. Okay, so in this way, you will have to record the accounting entry in the books of fund. on a settlement date if you follow the settlement date basis accounting.
Yeah.
That's the reason, just to avoid this mess, you can follow the simply traded accounting process.
Trade date, what entry we record for the unrealized gain and loss?
Then simple, only the unrealized loss on investment account debit to investment in equity.
Can we write it on? I mean, just put this one entry about.
I will record it.
Hello.
Wait a minute,
Sound.
I'm writing.
पहले ना
If you see
मैं तो पतला हूँ मैं
the loss
हैं
on investment
कौन से इंसान हमारी
on accounting day,
ग्रुप के बाद ग्रुप भी झाले का अर्धा नहीं का रेडी
then investment account. Whatever the amount is.
If it is a profit, then we'll do the ulta entry, right?
Yeah. Then
Yes,
investment in equity account debit to unrealized gain on investment.
Yes.
That's it. In case of, we'll write the logic as well. That would be easy for all the entries. Okay. If you see excess amount which you have received, excess, it means that is if you received anything in advance,
Yeah.
anything in advance, that would be your liability.
Yes.
Okay. And here in this case, if the Mr. X send the amount to you again, this accounting entry logic which you can put in case of advance, and now here return it. If liability decreases, right, if liability decreases, that would be debited. Reverse it. If liability decreases, liabilities are decreases, that would be debited. Because if you received anything in advance, so it means that is not your money, so you cannot claim for that. It's a simple. If you want to do the practice of accounting entries, then you cannot modify the accounting rules.
Yes.
There is no space for why. If the rule says if it is debited, it means you need to record that debited. If the rule says it like it, if it is a credited or that should be recorded like credited, it means it should be recorded to the credited.
Yes, sir.
Because most of the people, what they believe, if they modify it or in that case, in that way also they can record it. But no, that is not a true procedure or real procedure. If you want to practice accounting entries, first of all, you should mesmerize the accounting entries in details, and you should practice a lot, or accounting rules as well. You
Yeah.
can think in that way, like why it will be debited, then categorize it. Okay, so I can see the cash it is a part of real account. Oh, that's what it is debited. So you can see, put a logic there. But for a rule wise, you cannot put your own logic and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a recognition part, you can definitely, you can put your logic. If you see any entry, like let's say the fund received 1 lakh rupees received from Mr. X. If you see this note, then you can put your logic. Why we have received 1 lakh rupees from Mr. X? Is it for capital, or is it for buy something or sell something? Why then
Yeah.
Mr. X send the money to the fund? Then in that way you can put your logic and recognize it.
Yes.
Okay. Then cash in bank, again, if assets are decreases, that would be credited. Assets are decreases, that would be
Credited. Yes.
credited. and here capital in advance, so it means you can record it. So in short, it will be recorded to the liability side, but you can just debit the amount from the original capital that you have received.
Yeah.
And then finish the transaction, and cash will be affected here. So in short, it is a part of. So whatever that you have received cash, so that you can debit it from there as well. Then real account. If you have received fund from XYZ entity, then you can say it is a personal account, and now in this case they are the receiver, debit the receiver, credit the giver.
Yes.
Personal account or real account, vice versa. There is no difference between much difference between real account and personal account.
Yeah.
So real account defines the entity name and personal account defines the item. That's it.
Yes.
Then if you invest in equity, or if you invest in equity. See, if you invest or if you purchase anything, right,
Yes.
here you can apply the real account rule, right, which is debit what comes in and credit what goes out. So it means in this way, to the first item where you can apply the real accounting rule. Okay, payable. Again, JP Morgan is the giver, right? Personal
Yeah.
account and real, both you can apply it if you want. If liability increases, again the same. That would be credited. Investment, so it means that would be your assets. Assets increases. That would be the part of that would be debited.
Yes.
Balance it, asset side, and that would be the liability. Balance it, liability side. Okay. Here with the second entry, payable, same entry but would be in a reverse direction. This entry which you can. JP Morgan is the receiver. Then the liabilities are decreases. That would be credited, right? In this way, you're going to pay the fund to the JP Morgan on settlement date, and real account assets, that would be debited. Increases, that would be debited. Right. Unrealized loss and unrealized gain. So here in this case, there would be two options. One, whether you can record it as a comprehensive income from investment, OCI, other comprehensive income from the assets which you are holding, right? When you can record this, when you hold this asset as a asset. Are you getting me? Are you getting my point? If you hold any securities as assets, so it means if you received anything or if you see any unusual movement in the value of securities, so which you can record that as a other comprehensive income. That would be the one scenario. But if you, what if I buy the securities and sell, buy securities today and sell it tomorrow, in that case how can I record it?
Yes.
If you do the short term trading, if you do the short term trading and if you generate any profit and loss from that particular transaction, then that will be recorded to the P&L directly,
Okay.
whether it is derivatives or whether it is any swap contract or any contract or any product. So do you know the difference between the goods and assets? What is the difference between goods and assets?
Asset could be, I mean, anything which is generating actually income.
So in short, if you earned anything from the assets, so which you can say comprehensive income.
Okay.
But if you generate anything from the short term trading or short term transactions, that would be your, which is profit and
Loss account. Yeah.
loss, or income and gain, which you can record it to the directly P&L.
And that the comprehensive thing where we record in the here
Balance it.
balance sheet, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Unrealized loss, nominal account. So in this case, we'll assume it is, we're going to record it to the P&L, right?
Yeah.
If expenses and losses increases, that would be debited, right? And this is your real account, investment in equity, that would be your. And why now, see why we are recording this investment as a credited,
Yeah.
why we are recording it as a real account. So in short, yes, if you want to measure it in this way, then the investment in equity would be credited. So in short, there again you can put a logic: debit what comes in, credit what goes out. Expenses,
Yeah.
it means you will have to pay it.
Yes.
And in short, in this way also, the expenses which we are going to treat as a liability.
Yes.
So it means this provision, why you are recording in this way, because we'll have to transfer this investment in equity amount to the, or we are creating the short term liability in short.
Yeah.
And then this rule will apply. Liabilities are increases. Which one? This one, not that one. Here we have recorded, it should be debited. Okay. Again, let's assume it P&L. Debit side. So now same logic you can apply to this entry as well, but I'm not going to record it. You can put it here. Okay.
So for realized one, I mean, if buy the security and sell next day, if
Hmm?
I make profit or loss anything, so that we call a realized gain or loss, right?
Why realize? Because you haven't see the your investment is still there in your account.
No, no, investment. See what I'm telling. So I invested in equity.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So after that, I recorded these transactions.
Hmm.
So after 2 days or 3 days, I sell that investment.
If you sell that, it will be realized. That's fine. Then just
Yeah.
convert that unrealized into realized one and post it to the P&L, whatever the amount is, as a income.
Okay.
It's just a conversion process in that case. Convert it. Whatever after sell, if you received extra amount,
No, but for that also we have to record that agent entries, right? I mean,
if you take this entry, see this. If you take this entry, let's say, first of all, if you take this entry, and let's say we are not going to record this unrealized and all, okay? We'll sell it. After this, we'll record it directly. If we buy and sell it,
yeah.
if we buy and sell it, tell me the entry for buy.
Uh, purchase of account data to investment in
Purchase security account debit to let's say cash and buy directly.
or you can trade debates you can mention payable.
No, let's assume it. You purchase it. That's fine. One entry is also fine to put a logic. At the time of buy, this would be your accounting entry, and the value was, let's say, 5,000. So at the time of sell,
Này, không. Chị Lan có đâu rồi? Chị Lan rồi.
let's say the value is
6,000.
value 6,000, and if let's say you sold the securities at this price 6,000, right?
Yes.
Then you will receive cash in bank, account debit how much? 6,000.
6,000.
Then investment in securities or security sell account,
Sell of security. 5,000.
and to
Realized gain.
realized gain on account credit.
Okay.
This is a part of P&L. which you can post it now to the credit side of P&L. The sale of security would be added in cash, and that is a part of again balance it.
Yeah.
Right? Your job is done. In this way, you can record it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
if you're following that this trade and settlement system, then we have to create the receivable for this, right? Receivable and
exactly. If you
payable.
follow the trade date, we'll have to
Yeah.
create the receivable and payable accordingly. That depends on the transactions. If you are a buyer side, then it will be payable. If you are a seller side, it will be receivable.
So the receivable will come at asset side, right? I mean,
Exactly.
balance.
Receivable. See, all the receivables, not only related to sales. If you see any receivables in regards with any other transactions, also that will be projected to the balance sheet asset side. If you see any payable, not related, not only related to purchase and sales, but if you see any transactions, right? So that all payables will be recorded to the liability side of balance sheet. In
Okay.
short, all pending items will be recorded to the balance sheet.
Okay.
All net paid item will be recorded to the P&L.
Hmm.
Okay. So we'll stay here and we'll continue this session tomorrow as well. So I have urgent things to do because my daughter is not keeping well. So I have to go.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what.
No problem.
My wife is calling me. Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Otherwise, we would have done with this accounting entries part. We'll continue to this and we'll finish this tomorrow by tomorrow.
Sure.
So,
Sure. Sure.
right.
And so one more thing. So actually, there are a couple of two, three interviews are scheduled for me. One is the NT and one is the BNP Paribas.
So tell me the
Uh,
date. Accordingly, we'll plan it out.
BNP Paribas, they did not confirm the date. I just sent an email like GD. I acknowledge that. So we have to get the date, but this
NT
NT one is scheduled on the Friday actually.
Friday. Okay, that's fine. So tomorrow we'll complete with this accounting entries part, and then we'll cover the directly. We'll jump on the product. So I know the NT interview pattern, so we'll cover that portion.
Sure, sure, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
we'll see you then.
Yes.